We have to have it. Oh, wonderful. We are live. Well, hello, everyone, and welcome. This is a very special episode here. It's Healing Conversations. My name is Alicia Watkins. I'm a therapist and a college professor, and I'm so glad that you all are here with us today. And I'm so happy to have this conversation today with my beautiful panel of experts. I just want to say this is a very safe space and we tackle some of the really most challenging moments but we're going to tackle them with insight. We're going to focus on healing and we're going to have compassion for people who are really hurting. So anyway, we are diving into a topic I think all of us can relate to, and I'm so excited about having a great conversation about this is how do we deal with the pain of betrayal that hurts us deeply and still move forward with our life. We have to accept the reality and we have to also pick up the pieces and we have to move forward in a way that's dignity, where we have some dignity and we have some sense of wholeness in ourselves. And this is not about gossip. We ain't pointing fingers. There's no judging here. But we are going to have a conversation about learning, growing, and finding the best way we can heal after heartbreak. So I'm honored to have a wonderful panel of experts here. Y'all, what a privilege to have this great panel of experts here to bring a wealth of knowledge. They have lots of experience and they have empathy. They're going to bring all of that to this conversation. Let me introduce them to you. Okay. We have Paris Williams. Say hi, Paris. Yes. She's a licensed therapist, you guys. She specializes in relationships, emotional healing, all things mental health. And she's going to help us sort of understand this and talk about how to rebuild. Hey, Paris, welcome. Okay, next we have Felice Hightower Britt. Yes, she is another amazing therapist. Paris Williams is out of New York, and Felice Hightower is in North Carolina. She's another amazing therapist. She focuses on helping individuals deal with all of these complexities and with mental health and everything about healthy relationships to help process pain, reclaim your power. She's the Be Big coach. Wait, I got to put her website up here. Let's put her website here. She is the Be Big coach. You can check her out there at the Be Big coach. Welcome, Felice Hightower.
I love this.
All right. Okay. And last but not least, we have the Unwrap You coach. Her name is Melanie McLean, and she's a wellness coach, everybody. And she is very passionate about healing people from inside and out. I have had such the pleasure of talking with her about her wonderful initiatives. She is going to guide us through all the things that she talks about in terms of self-care and wellness. As we talk about this, how do you take care of yourself when you're dealing with a painful situation? So, welcome, Melody.
Thank you.
Oh, wonderful. Well, I want to thank all of you guys for being here. I think it's a privilege to have you guys with me today. And we're going to dive in because I don't know. I want to say hello to everybody in the chat. Where's everybody in the chat? Say hello. And y'all let us know. Have you heard of the Keke Jones dilemma? I woke up one morning and opened up my TikTok and there was just like, what happened to this lady? I was like, what happened? It was transferred from Facebook onto TikTok, and it was just pages and pages of just this lady crashing out online. And I started listening to her story. I started digging into some of the things that happened to her, and I just felt so bad about some of the things she was experiencing, how painful it was. So we're not here to gossip about her, but we are here to try to talk about what do you do when things happen? And for everybody in the chat, let us know. Have you heard about Keke Jones? Let us know, yes or no, in the chat if you've heard about her. And I want to have this conversation. And before I have this conversation, I just want to let you know how to find me. On Sunday, we are now doing our book club. that we meet every Sunday, and we're going over how to be an adult in relationships by fellow social worker David Rico. And we're on the topic of the conversation about how to end. How do you end a relationship with grace? So, anybody who's interested in exploring this on the weekly basis, it's free. So all you got to do is go to draliciabookclub.com and then you can talk to me. What's not free is my therapy and coaching session. So, but you could go to Coaching with Dr. Alicia and you could reach out to me there and then for one-on-one attention. And of course, follow me on the gram, Instagram. I am on TikTok, of course, YouTube, Coaching with Dr. Alicia. Enough about that. I'll put my website up here so you guys can look at it as we talk. Keke, how many people? No, I got a lot of no's. No one's seen this. It was all over um my social media. And how about you guys? Had you guys heard of before I reached out to you what happened to Keke Jones? None of you heard this. This lady, I have to bring in. Maybe I'll have to share one of her videos because I was just like so taken away by some of the things that she has experienced. And she has, let's see, let me go to, okay, let me see. I'm going to try to share my screen so that we can go to an example of her having an episode because I think it is really kind of unfortunate some of the things that happened. Okay, so let me scroll down and I'm on her page now, and she is talking about her relationship and what has happened. Um, let's go. Let me go. Okay, she's addressing people. Okay, how about this? Let me share, and so that we can kind of see it. Let me pick. How do I? Okay, so I'm going to share my screen, and I am going to. Okay, all right, sharing, and I'm going to share my Facebook page here so that we can watch. Okay, let's turn on the volume and let's.
I'ma save it, whatever. But I just had a decent day. My girl Jen got me out
Can
the
you
house
guys hear?
and she took my hair down.
Yeah.
She laid, died, and did it right. Y'all see that? Isn't that right? She got me right. I came home. I said, I'm gonna go to sleep. I'm gonna get off the social media. I get a text message. People are saying that this was a prank, and it was on my page.
Hmm.
People are also, oh, I get a call saying it's a GoFundMe. If it was a GoFundMe, this is what I'm gonna do. If I ever get that down in the trenches, I'm gonna post it first and I'm gonna say, hey y'all, I'm about to post a GoFundMe. This is me. I'm live. I'll get my other phone because I got two phones and I'll show y'all the phone on live and I will show y'all that I posted a GoFundMe. But I'm not gonna do it. I'm not gonna do it. I'm not gonna do it. Thank you, Jessica. I'm not gonna do it. This is why. This is how I know that this was the end, y'all, for my marriage. This is what made me really come back to life. Because when everything started crinkling and I started losing my motherfucking mind, God actually was talking to me. Like he actually got me out of this. I started getting blessings and blessings. And I'm not gonna speak the blessings because it's clear that a lot of people hate me. But I started getting blessings and blessings. Y'all finna see them blessings. Y'all about to see it. Don't worry. I'm not the type of person to play nobody, lie to nobody. Hell no. No, not me. Matter of fact, my husband, love him dearly. Love him dearly. My ring is somewhere around here. I don't know. I don't know. But I'm not saying I'm perfect and all that. I'm great. I'm about to turn up. I'm really not. Cause I got invited out today and I just didn't want to go party. I did go, get it laid died, She did me. My girl did it and she did it free of charge, y'all. You see what I mean? Blessings. I done got somebody call me and tell me, um, I can get a free wax. Like people are really coming through for me. And y'all think this is a game. Y'all think this is a game. I don't want no money. I don't want no GoFundMe. Save the GoFundMe for people that are dying, y'all. Just like that. Save it for people that really need it. People that on their last deathbed and they need the money. I'm gonna be okay. I give myself a couple months. I'm gonna find me. I don't want to talk too much, but I'm gonna be okay. Come on now, y'all want a story time? Y'all do. I get it. But I want to get myself better. I want to get back to the bad bitch Keke. I want to get my nails done. I want to get my hair done. And I want to come on here. I want to get cute. I want to go have me a little drink something slight. Nothing crazy. And I want to come on here and I want to talk to y'all. And I'm going to tell y'all every little thing. I'll do a Q&A. I'll tell y'all. But to tell y'all right now, it's not, it was not a prank. It wasn't. If it's a prank, then go explain that girl Ashley Lowe, that keep posting fake pages. She posts a page saying he in my bed. She posts a page saying it was a joke. She posts a page. I feel like this is her. I do. Or I feel like it's her. I don't even think it's his family. Because I don't think his family want no smoke with y'all. Because y'all coming through. So I don't think his family want no smoke with y'all. I'm looking better today, y'all. I feel like shit. Y'all know y'all see I've been having this. Oh Lord. Damn, I should have changed my shirt. See, I'm that real. I forgot to pretend like I took a bath today and I didn't. I'm just gonna keep it real. I'm depressed, y'all. I'm depressed, but I'm making out of it. I'm making out of it. And I'm gonna just be real with y'all. No, you don't clean up much when you're depressed. No, you don't really care about things when you're depressed. You don't care about a lot of stuff. All I want to do is focus on getting the CPS stuff out the way, bringing my baby girls back home with me, and being good. You know.
Okay. So that was a little bit of a kind of the aftermath of her crash out online. And she was seen with her wedding dress on, inebriated, playing her wedding song and crying about what happened. I don't want to play that video because that's her at her lowest. But here we have an example of aftermath, how she's turned to social media and is trying to get her children back. So, in case people don't know, she married this man, and in her discussions, she talks about he was the only person ever to ever show her any kind of love, and how heartbreaking it was for him to have, she found out that he was cheating on her the whole time with a friend. And when she finds all of this out, she goes to social media and she deals with it. And for some reason, they don't say why, but her children were actually removed from the home. So she's at her lowest. And now you can see where it's an illustration of how she is trying to build herself back. Now, with that underneath, I think it is really kind of fascinating how she is now trying to come back and she's trying to receive validation online. And so, yeah, let's start with, how about you, Paris? Let's start with you. And I know I sent you another video of her like totally crashing out online. What would you have to say? Like, what are the first steps somebody can take to accept the reality that a relationship is broken, and any feedback you'd have based on what you thought today?
Yeah, I mean, one thing that we have to realize is that, we think become with someone, but it is a grief. And grief is this is a very common experience where you're going to go through many stages. You're going to go, and acceptance is the last one. So the idea is to really be patient with yourself, as hard as that is, because you're in such a very vulnerable space and a very out of control space. But I mean, I even in seeing that video you just showed, Dr. Alicia, that is an example what that looks like. Maybe allowing more help in the sense of like support from others. I mean, obviously, this is the social media side of it, but just really the way to accept is kind of looking at it like this is normal. I hurt. This is hurtful for me. This person really betrayed me, and it's also known as abandonment. It's another. It's I mean, that's literally what we're experiencing in those moments, and so all of that is very natural. So part of it is just saying, you know what, this is going to be hard. We're here, and so yeah, that's how I hear it in a way of how one could at least start with.
Oh, excellent. Okay, so so what Paris is saying is that get in touch with the hurt because it's a
Mhm.
grieving process when you lose somebody that's
Yeah.
close to you and feelings of abandonment come up. And it's important to connect with that as you grieve. Thank you, Paris. Okay,
Mhm.
I could totally see that. And I see where she's coming to those terms in that last video. So, how about you, Felice? How about you? Could you add to that about the first steps someone can take to accept the reality that the relationship is not there anymore?
Yeah, and I'm sorry about what happened to her and the way she felt she had to deal with it. But one of the things is that you need to sit in it, like accept all the feelings, experience all the feelings. Don't try to constipate it and not feel it or detach from it, but sit in it, lean into those feelings because they are natural feelings. She is grieving a loss, a deep loss, especially the loss of a real love or a perceived real love. And so to allow and acknowledge all the feelings that comes with the loss of a relationship, and then to give yourself
Yes.
about some grace and self-compassion about what role you possibly played
Yeah.
in the demise or the end of the relationship, right? Like, what role did you play? And regardless of what role you play, give yourself some grace and self-compassion, and then be your own best friend. What were those things that if it was a best friend that was going through this, what would you do and how would you provide comfort to that friend? Then look at yourself and be your own best friend and give yourself that comfort, give yourself that pep talk, whatever it is. And then to staying in now, like fight
Mm.
trying to constantly go back into your past about woulda, coulda, shoulda. Like that's not going to help you heal or get through this moment. It's done. So try and fight the staying in now and figure out, okay, how am I going to get through this today and be better for it today? Those are some of the first steps that I would suggest you know.
These first steps are so interesting because it is accepting the range of feelings that you have when it's an unexpected loss. Like you're going along your life and everything just seems fine. And then, boom, you're in contact with some information that shatters everything.
Yeah.
And so, of course, you're going to have a range of feelings and you need to really be your own best friend. I love that statement because sometimes you don't have anybody else that totally understands, or you're not around supportive system. It seems like from this video that she actually does have a support system. I'm just curious about why she turned to social media, but at least it's an illustration for all of us. She can do some of these things for herself to be her own best friend. What I love about what you're alluding to is the fact that our relationships hold a mirror to us about how there's some lessons we can learn about ourselves. What was it that she should have paid attention to but didn't? What were some of the red flags that came up that you just kind of rationalized out in your head, almost like being able to understand and reflect on the whole entire experience as a way to learn about yourself and about relationships. So I think that was really, really important. And the last thing you said that I thought was really fascinating was being in the moment, because so many times we just start to ruminate on things. We think over and over again, what woulda, coulda, shoulda, what could I have done? Also taking time to be in the now. It sounds like she is really, really putting forth the effort to get her family back, her children back. And it seems like her wanting to be in a relationship with her children is so important for her right now. And I think that is really, really key. So thank you for that. And okay, Coach Melody, she's the wellness expert. So how about you talk a little bit about her self-care in this moment? What should she be doing with herself in terms of her wellness practice, or any of us who are going through something really tough?
Yeah. Well, in the situation, what you ladies have said is really great, but I just remember her saying, I haven't even taken a bath. Like, I haven't even changed my clothes. Half of it is, making sure that you're feeling your best
which means you do have to clean up. And even when it's hard, because think about it, it wasn't her decision. She wasn't the one who decided to end it. But you do have to have the reality. And as a person that's been married for 30 years, I have seen and think I'm talking to women all around the globe, right? We know that things happen that are outside of our control. But, and I was thinking the same thing about the social media when you said hold a mirror, be your own best friend, Felice. Like, that to me is one thing that maybe is a little different. Maybe going to someone that could really support you through the time, because you get a plethora of responses from social media. Some people think it's cool. Some people thought she was lying. Like, you think about all of the comments that she had, when that may be something she needs to deal with on a smaller space with people, and then, put it out to social media when you're stronger. I think sometimes people use social media and it can become a detriment to your mental and your physical well-being, because it cripples you when you're reading things and you're starting to internalize it and feeling these ways, right? So I would say definitely for her to, got to put, hey, her hair is done, let it flow, right? Go take a bath, put on some clothes, go get some sun, go get some exercise, like making sure that she is just feeling her best. And you have to just fight your way through it sometimes.
Oh, very good. Fighting your way through it. I think that is really something. And yesterday we were just talking about this topic about how it's going to take discipline. We
Yeah.
talked about yesterday about you have to let go completely. Even though she was saying, I still love him. It was great that she acknowledged that, because we've all felt that way where you had to end a relationship, but that didn't end your love for that person. That just meant what I was talking about yesterday is that really all relationships have an expiration date eventually.
Dr. Alicia, can I add something to that though?
Mm-hmm.
When you can love someone, but you can't love anyone more than you love yourself. So
Yes.
with that being said, okay, you acknowledge, hey, that you love, but if someone treats you badly, I always say, I have a saying, people only act the way you let them. And they'll walk all over you if you let them. And sometimes you have to protect yourself and you have to love you more than you love them. And
Oh,
that means being able to let it go.
that is so true. You're gonna say something, Paris? Yeah.
I also want to kind of add to that. Sometimes the idea of loving yourself, it can be in a very small increments, like for example, even how she said, oh look, I did my hair a little bit today, like that is a form of self-care and self-love. We think like it has to be blown out, it has to be amazing for it to be to love yourself, or what love looks like for self. I think that little points that she's brought up, I think was really beautiful and really meaningful in a way of what does progress look like. Hey, I notice I have the same shirt on. I need to change it. Even that acknowledgement of self to versus just like, okay, this is just where I'm at. So, baby steps, I think is a great beginning step. And I think that's exactly what we're talking about here.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it doesn't have to cost a whole lot of money. You don't have to. You could take a bath. That's my self care plan every day. I don't cost nothing but just water and bubbles. This is so good. Felice, you want to add to this whole self care piece? I love this.
Well, I think that we have to be mindful that she's also in the infancy stages of this
Yes.
grief, right? So, and I saw the first video and it was very traumatic to her. So she's experienced some abandonment and it's taken her back to some
Yes.
things that she experienced in her past. And so, yes, we want her to do all of these things, but we have got to allow her to get through this moment, right?
Yeah.
And it this is what happens. I mean, even people who love themselves, when something like this happens, it is very devastating, and a lot of people do become depressed. And that is a sign of depression when you don't take care of yourself. Like you don't wash, you don't brush your teeth, so she is in a state of depression. And so I'm just hoping that whoever saw that video that really knows her reaches out to her and offers her a helping hand to help her to get through this hump, which it looks like she's getting through. But you also got to recognize that, she's going to need some therapy. Not just for this moment, but for the trauma that was triggered, maybe some PTSD that she's experiencing as well. And so she's got to get some professional help to kind of guide her along in this journey so that she can really do the work and the progress that it's going to take long term, not just in this little increment, but to get healed, period, so that she can start making wiser decisions about who she's going to give access to in her life.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did notice some symptoms. We don't know because we're not diagnosing her, but I did notice some symptoms of complex PTSD just based on what she shared about her own story. And
Mhm.
so that could further complicate things because if you've had that history of scary things happening to you, or moments where you were felt alone and you had no way to process all of those things, that a situation like this can just make it even worse. But the great thing is that this is a wonderful opportunity for her to deal with it.
Yeah.
And she may not be there. You're right. She's at the infancy of that. But the goal is to eventually, one time, look back on it and go, "Who was that lady? That was who was I? Who was that lady that was crashing out on Facebook?" And it's so hard. Um, I just want to ask anybody who's watching. We got a few people in here watching us. How do you guys? Have you guys gone through a real painful breakup where something's happened? Do you look back? What happens? What comes up for you guys? Anybody want to share in the comments something painful that happened to you, like betrayal, or someone did or said something that bothered you, and it was very painful to get over something like that. You look back on it now. What comes up for you guys? So tell us if you want to share something that's happened to you. I mean, I can share. I was talking about it last night. I was talking about how like transitions. So like I remember being in college and I dated this guy in college. And then when I started graduating, getting closer to graduation, I just felt like I think this is the end of the road for us. I remember thinking this in my head. Like when I graduate, that ceremony is just going to be the end of college, Alicia. And that I knew I was moving to Chicago and I was going to meet all these other new people. I just felt like that was just the end of the relationship. Not that the relationship was really bad. It was just I felt like that was a journey and the journey was just over. Like I didn't see a future with that person. And maybe he picked up on it too. Perhaps he picked up on that as well, but I just felt like it was just time. Sometimes it's just time to move on, and it's so hard to let go. So, anyway, I don't see anybody in the chat. Everybody, comment in the chat if you feel like you feel comfortable. Comment on letting go. How do you guys let go? What do you guys do for self-care? And how do you guys let go? Which leads me to maybe we'll go to you, Coach Melody. I'll unmute you because you have a little bit of background noise. But I'm just curious, like, what would you recommend of when it is difficult to let go? How, it's so hard. And how do people overcome some of these emotional and psychological barriers? Knowing that you deserve a healthy relationship, and the relationship you're in right now is not as healthy as you would like it to be. What would you say to somebody to overcome these barriers to kind of let it all go?
I believe that seeking professional help is one thing that we minimize, and that I always say, get you a therapist, get you a coach, like someone that can help you see outside of the situation and actually help keep you accountable, and someone just to be able to talk through, because sometimes your friends in your circle may not give you the information you need based off of the story. That could be who you're dealing with or their like for a person. But I think that that's something that's really underutilized oftentimes. And you guys are all specialists in the field too. It's always as though, that whole you're crazy if you have. And I always say everybody need a coach and they need a therapist, because they're completely different. And they really can assist you. It's like when you work with people, just being able to see their story more authentically and be able to offer them more insights than they can see, because they're lost in it, and it's hard to go through it alone. And that's one thing that I would say: seek help. Seek help, and you're at all different stages of what's happening with you. And self-care really is important, and that looks different for everybody depending on where you are in your process and what you need. And you have to be able to identify that as well.
Yeah, that is really good. I'm gonna go to Felice next because, in case y'all don't know, Felice is a therapist, but
Yeah.
she's also a coach. So she has to like separate the two because coaching is different from therapy, and all of that can help you find some sort of clarity. Because I think that's what we're talking about. To help let go, you need to have what's called reflective functioning. You need to be able to think about what happened to you. You can't fix it. Knowing what you can control and what you can't control. How about you, Felice? Weigh in on that. Like, the difference, how you can get over something like that emotionally and psychologically.
So
Yeah.
one of the things is to really look at the data, right? And that's reflecting on the data and taking that data and first seeing what role did I play in this? Like you said earlier, were there red flags that I was in denial about? Were there red flags that I
Mhm.
totally dismissed? And were there red flags that I justified? Right. And then why didn't I do anything about those red flags? And then extract the lesson. Okay, so what am I going to take from this data? And how
Uh-huh.
am I going to do better next time? And also to try to reframe your perspective on the relationship. Because at some point, even with all the red flags, something about that relationship you needed.
Yeah.
And so you got to go back and you got to reframe your perspective on it. Even if it was horrible, there was something about it that you needed in that moment. Because a lot of times I hear my clients like, well, that I wasted my time. Well, not really, because for whatever reason, in that time, you thought you needed it. And so hopefully you got what you need, even if it possibly wasn't the best. And so, how do you reframe your perspective on that? Because if you always look on it as a negative, you're going to sit in it longer. But if you can possibly reframe your perspective of it and take the good out of it, take the lessons out of it, it's going to help position you for the healing you
Mhm.
so deserve. And so I believe that those are some of the things that you can do, that you can start letting go and just being honest. When you try to deny, some of the things that you didn't do or did do, is going to keep you further from your healing. That is what keeps you trapped and stuck, is when you try to act or like deny any of the pieces. Like, you got to come with truth. Truth is hard, but it sets you free. And so you got to bring the truth about you. Because 9 times out of 10, a lot of the people that we do break up with, somewhere in that relationship, hindsight, after you feel like it was like, I shouldn't even entered it. Like, I should have, when he said, hey, I should have been like that way. You know what I
But
mean? And so, right. And so, why did you choose that? And so, when you're really honest about the ending of that relationship, you're going to heal a whole lot quicker.
oh, this is so good. Yeah, I'm agreeing with Dwayne. I like Dwayne Daniels. I like your comments in here talking about not to ruminate because that's what I want to talk to Paris about. You can't help it. It's like I've worked with some clients where it's just like it's intrusive. The thinking, I'm like, you're thinking about this 24 hours, 7 days a week. That's not going to be helpful. That's going to erode your self-esteem when you keep ruminating on this. So I really love this reflect and not ruminating piece. Gosh, psychologically and emotionally, Paris. We want to add to this because I love where you're going with the hurt and the abandonment piece.
Yeah, yeah, no, just I mean everything is exactly what we're talking about. I mean, the idea right now is really understanding again, this is also maybe one could say a trauma that we've experienced. This is a breaking away of something. And to really how to learn how to deal with that breaking away, that's where the abandonment piece comes from. Because something that you're familiar with, even for a short period of time, of course, even a long period of time, is still a trauma. It can be very hard to work with. So again, this understanding of self to say, well, look, this is a normal reaction. But what my regarding abandonment, it does come with a lot of uncertainty, a lot of feelings that are there that you can't really explain or understand. And so, what I would highlight with that is, you know, seeking support. One thing about when we ruminate, we ruminate to find understanding. We try to see about it, like, okay, let's get in our heads, let's try to do something different. So let me, like, where people were just want to find the answers. Why is this the way this is? And maybe part of maybe what I would highlight is moving away from those temptations of, like we talked about, social media, maybe phone numbers in your phone. I know in my phone they have it. I have it where I can archive a phone number to a separate space altogether, and of course, and that just allows you just to not see it in your last, in your most recent, if there is the most recent for you, and just really these are ways to just kind of help yourself get away from these experiences, because again, I would highlight this, and this is what I want to say at the end, but I'll say now. I think a breakup is not necessarily getting over, but getting through it. So, it's kind of one of those things where we have to just go through the process. It's going to be hard. We're going to go forwards, we're going to go backwards, because there's going to be a lot that maybe even come up emotionally that we didn't even realize is there, about, again, abandonment. When someone leaves us, abandonment, it comes from a space of, we are not expecting it and it shows up and someone leaves us. It could be physically, emotionally, psychologically, it could be any aspect of it. And what we're doing is now faced with being alone, unaware of, again, really abandoned, really by yourself. So, and again, this is not an easy space. Oh my gosh, it's not easy, but part of it is just getting through it. And then as the coach Melody said, as well as Dr. Felicia said, it's really about seeking also help and really understanding those other pieces that would come up emotionally.
Oh man, I'm sitting here jumping in my chair, Paris, because what you're saying is there's a difference between being abandoned and somebody just leaving.
Yeah.
It's not really abandonment in that sense. Children can be abandoned, but that person just left, or you left.
Mm-hmm.
It's not, it can bring up abandonment feelings that makes it feel just awful for you, but they left. And it's important to have the distinction, because we've been talking about in my book club how to be an adult in relationships. And that's one thing they challenge us is to not look at abandonment, but look at somebody left. They just left. And you are left, like Felice said. What's your lessons learned? What is it? Processing that. What did I need in that moment that put me in that situation? And now that that person left and it's over, accepting that, with this being so, how are you now going to move forward? And part of that is making amends. Because if you don't, and I love this, Paris, in not getting over it, getting through it, because if you just squish it down and move on to the next relationship, you start finding that you're going to be meeting the same people over and over again. You're going to stop and think, like, why do I keep getting into the same relationship all over again? Because you didn't do that critical piece that Felice talked about, processing it all and trying to figure out what were the lessons learned. How can I learn these lessons? Because once you learn that lesson, you ain't going to repeat it over and over again. This is really good. And I know Paris, hey everybody, Paris has to jump off in a couple of minutes. But let me go to you, and then I'll go to you, Felice, and Coach Melody, since I know Paris, you have to jump off. But I just wanted to just ask you about one piece of advice you give to somebody who feels stuck. They feel like they can't move forward. Some healing piece, and forgiveness, whatever you want to comment on before we let you go. Now, of course, you can stay as long, but when you leave, we can say goodbye to you. But what is one piece of advice you give to somebody?
It's very cliche, but I would definitely agree with it. Time is a definite factor when it comes with where we are with, like kind of what Dr. Felicia said earlier, like, wow, I was dealing with this person back then and I didn't realize that's what's going on. So getting through is also allowing yourself time to get through it. Not everyone agrees with this, but I am a big component of grief. There's no time frame of grief and getting through something. People say, "Oh, it's been this long. Why aren't you da da da?" And you know what? Sometimes that's everyone's in their own space of process and grieving. And so time, it could be short or long. Again, oftentimes it's not the individual that's being triggered. It's the experience that potentially they've experienced in the past. So, all these things matter as to why we say time takes its course, because we're dealing with multiple dynamics potentially that could be happening.
Oh, that is so great. It's the self-compassion. It's saying, okay, this is where I am right now, but as long as I keep working on this, this will eventually pass. And you'll look back on it and you'll think about all of the things that you've learned. Thank you, Paris, for joining us. And then I'm gonna hold on, everybody. We're gonna hold on to Felice and Coach Melody just for a few more minutes here. We're almost at the top of the hour. We are talking about today the Keke Jones story, but we're not really talking about her story. We're talking about her as an illustration about how we can accept the reality of a very painful relationship that ends suddenly. And I think this is really good. Freedom, I see you in the comments here. Freedom helped me find my real happy place. Freedom, feeling free. That is a good feeling to just be free. That freedom feeling, I think is great. I see some of your comments. Aside from 95 years, what? Aside from my 95 years, Rhonda, 95 years? Spa time. She spends spa time with or without a stressful situation. So this is embedded. Her self-care plan is going on no matter what. Being barefoot in the rain. Yes, it was raining today here in Georgia. Or hugging on the trees, bringing me to bliss. I love tree huggers like Rhonda. Those are great. And if some of you all are just joining us, I am here with Ms. Paris Williams, who will be dropping off in a second, but she's a therapist. Paris Williams, LMHC@gmail.com. That's how you reach out to her. I also have Miss Felice Hightower Britt. She's the Be Big coach. She's a therapist, but she's a coach. So she can coach you on how to be big. Felice, you'd be wonderful for Keke Jones. She needs you. Keke Jones could also benefit from the unwrapu.com. It is, I had to write it down. It's a 90-day wellness coach with Coach Melody, and she talks about Unwrap You. And so these are wonderful, wonderful resources for all of us to use. Of course, you can use me as a resource. If you want to know about healthy relationships, come to my book club, draliciabookclub.com. We meet every Sunday night. It's totally free. And we talk about healthy relationships. If you are in the Zoom, people have been typing in their relationship questions, and it's been so fun, like digging into it. It's not therapy, but it's just fun kind of talking about it. We can give you live coaching, and we all support each other. It's a community of healers, you guys. Anyway, but if you want to reach out to me, go to coachingwithdralicia.com, and that's how you can reach out. Oh, I forgot to put this in here. Hold on. There's another one. Jeez, I gotta find it. Y'all got your phones. I want you to get your phones out. Why can't I find it? Oh boy, it must have disappeared. It was in here. Text the word love to 87948 if you want to get some more free information, and you'll probably get some emails from me, but I don't see it in here. Anyway, text the word love, L-O-V, must have got, oh, here it is. Text the word love to 87948. You can get on my mailing list, and you get all sorts of information and specials, all sorts of information from me. I think that'll be really, really helpful. And of course, follow me on Instagram, follow me on the gram and TikTok and YouTube. So anyway, I'll put my website up here, and then we will move on to some of our next question that I have about this Keke. Yeah.
Bye, everyone. I'm so bye. Have a great day. Have a great evening. Bye.
Wonderful. Okay. So how about you, Coach Melody? How about you talk about forgiveness? What do you do when you're coaching somebody? Because there's a lot of forgiveness that needs to be at play, especially in this healing process. Forgiveness is really tricky and it's hard, but it's important to forgive. How is that, forgiving yourself? How does that help with this wellness process?
Well, I want to first say that I do have the 90-day, it's a 90-day transformation course that can be found on my website, which is unwrapu.com. Everyone, if people want to reach out, all my social medias and information about workplace wellness and youth wellness and life skills is there. But when it comes to forgiveness, it's very important because I call it a transfer of trauma. When you have not forgiven someone, then it lays within you, right? So you're upset about it, you're mad about it. That person might not even know that you are have some sort of offense or something like that. I'm always really trying to talk to people about be transparent about your thoughts and your feelings. And if someone has, violated you or said something mean to you or said something you didn't like, because if you're harboring any feelings about it and they're moving on, and I think it just helps to free a person from the things that they're going through. And forgiveness is very important because we're not all perfect. I always say, have they tried to kill you? Have they messed around with your mate? Have they hurt your children? Like, you can forgive. It's just upon you. And I think that that is such an important part and a important way to live, not making everything a whole mountain. You know how they talk about the mountain and the molehill. Like sometimes you just blow things straight out of proportion, and then you're mad, and it just blows up. So I'm one that's a big proponent of discussing whatever offenses you feel, whatever someone has said that is against something that you feel, and I think that it frees you and then it puts it back on them. And most of the time, people really will apologize if they've done something to, especially if they care about you. And if they didn't care about you, it shouldn't matter anyway, because that means that you probably need to move on from that relationship or that person, right? Because we want to surround ourselves with people that care about us, want to lift up and invoke positivity and make us feel good. And someone in the chat talked about your happy place and even knowing where that is. I love that. And who's in control of your happiness? You are. No
Yes.
one else, and you don't give anyone that type of power.
Woo, that was good. I love that one. That was an earful
Yeah.
about the forgiveness. It's really about reclaiming your power. It's like not having that situation to have power over you. That's what forgiveness. It ain't even about, because guess what? People don't even ask you for forgiveness. Chances are they'll do you wrong and they won't even say, I'm sorry, please forgive me. They don't even go through any of that. So
Nope.
you still have to move on.
You
This
do.
is good. How about you, Felice? What would you have to say about forgiveness?
I think forgiveness in the long run, it's like a double whammy. You already had the offense, you already had the hurt and the pain, and then you add on to it with unforgiveness. Unforgiveness creates toxins in your body, which can turn into disease. And so not only have you had this bad relationship, but you not walking in unforgiveness is a double whammy on you. And so, yeah, reclaim your power, get your freedom. Like she said, freedom is a happy space. And really, this person doesn't deserve it anymore.
Yeah.
They're just a mere human. No
Mhm.
more leverage, no more access, and no more access in your life and your present. Stop inviting unforgiveness into your now. And
Yes.
also take back your now. And so that's what forgiveness does for you.
Oh, so the forgiveness, if you're not able to forgive, it robs you. Holding on to grudges, bitterness, it just robs you of everything. It can rob you of happiness, it can rob you of wholeness, and it just puts you into what you're saying, Felice, in your physically unhealthy place. And that's where diseases come up and things you can't even get rid of, like the big C. We're going to talk about cancer. The anger and that hurt, it is really like a cancer that needs to be let go. And
And
I
they
mean,
don't
your
deserve
life
it.
is better than this.
Well, they don't deserve it.
Yes.
So you're entering something that is past into your now and possibly your future. They don't deserve that kind of power or access.
Oh, so you are allowing a person who don't even love you enough to respect you, but you're letting them into and having them take over you physically. And it really is. And I just know working in family courts, sometimes that whole abandonment piece comes up, and divorce lawyers are making over because they are, I've seen them fan the flames. And I'm just like, time out. What is the lawyer doing? I would have sat with the family, worked through everything, gotten everything sorted out. And then the divorce lawyer comes in and just starting stuff and just giving too much information. And they're juicing them because they got to charge you for every email they send and all of this. It's a whole industry of people banking on the fact that you can't let go and you can't forgive. There's an entire group of people who leech off of families and they're stealing money out of the inheritance of the children in these families. It really, I mean, it just kind of makes me mad to think about it because I used to get real upset about because I did a lot of the work with some of the children who were affected by this, and they are detrimentally affected by this. Anyway, I'm just getting off on a tangent here because it really makes me mad. Yes, you want to say something, Coach Melody?
Yeah, that just brought up something for me. The more we can handle things on our own, the better anyway. If you're amicable, that's a hurt when people divorce and then it's messy like that because then, it takes time and then they end up being best friends 5 years from now because you have this. And it's like you wasted a lot of money. If you could just break up and split it on your own, it makes more sense. I don't need an attorney to tell me I'm going to give you half, right? I could figure that out on my own and keep your half, right? That third that they keep. But I think being amicable and reasonable with your thoughts and not doing things in anger, because most of the time when they're in the battle, it's because someone is hurt. And my pastor said this, and I never forget, hurt people hurt people.
Mm.
And so with that being said, if you're in that place, you do a lot of things that you might regret later, and you should not want to live in a place where you're going to be regretful later. So thinking through and making it bigger than that. But I hate to hear that about the divorce court, but that's true. That is very true.
Divorce lawyers, boy, they
Yeah.
be over. They know how to. They know because it's so emotionally charged. It's just really kind of really something. And I think from the comments, there's one comment from Lori. Hey, Lori, I recognize Lori. How you doing? I had foolish behavior, demanding an explanation on dumping me, and I needed to change his mind. I just couldn't accept being dumped. But now I realize how foolish I was, and I vowed I ain't never gonna do it again. That's somebody with a good reflective functioning. She's just like, and you do have to forgive yourself because at that moment you're at your lowest. It's not your normal self, Oh my goodness. So let's talk about this. This is our last question as we wrap up for today. Everybody, we're talking about the Keke Jones story. If you don't know the Keke Jones story, she all over TikTok. It's really, really kind of sad. But more than anything, you can see her trajectory about where she was when she found out, knew her marriage was over. And she's going through this sort of stage. And I think it's a wonderful teaching for all of us to be able to learn how to accept the reality of a broken relationship. It happens. All relationships, even when you start it and everything is going great, it will eventually end some way, either separation, either divorce, or either because you left to go on the other side. So there's always something that's going to end. And so Lori's comment about foolish behavior, how to how any words of wisdom before we wrap up today and our wonderful conversation, any words of wisdom that you would give to somebody who's going through something very, very painful? Felice, we'll start with you.
I'm going to share, my last thoughts. Like I said before, examine the data, do some reflective functioning, and honestly, just know that this too will pass. It will pass. And that who are you going to be on the other side of this? That's what happens. So and not all relationships are meant to be forever. Some people are in your life for a reason, a season, or a lifetime. And many times closed doors are really a blessing in disguise and a way of escape. And your path to something better. A lot of times you stay in something and it was probably good, but it's not your best. And sometimes the universe has a way of allowing that to come to an end so that it can free you to be open to receive your best. And so when you come into and know that, okay, it ended, it doesn't feel good, but I'm going to get something better. And so that's how you want to look at it. Don't you want something better? Don't you want your best? Well, then you gotta let that thing go.
Oh, I think that is so true. I always think about like breakups and I look back on it and I really am just like, wow, I'm in a whole nother place. There was something better. I didn't even realize I could grow like that. It's almost like I was talking about it yesterday of like a snake. You know how snakes, like when snakes get bigger, they have to shed their skin. Like they just they gotta get out of it. And it's a process that just naturally happens. I don't know a snake that's sad about shedding their skin. They feel good. I've seen videos of snakes shedding their skin. They almost like wiggle faster. It's like they just become so much better and they can snake better, whatever snake people do. They can probably catch the mouse faster because they have been able to wiggle out of this. And I think that's so great about, oh, be big coach. That's like almost like a good metaphor for your business. So if anybody interested in working with Miss Felice, there's her website, the Be Big Coach. She got a whole book and everything to go with it. It's really good. I got her book. I'm not at home, so if I had it with me, I'd pull it up. But
I got
anyway,
it. Hold on a
oh, you
second.
got it. Wait, okay. There she goes. Look at it. Be Big Coach. Yes. Be sure to get that. And then, oh wait, you got a book too, Coach Melody?
Of course I do, Dr. Alicia. I have my interactive wellness journal, which this walks through their 90-day process. And if I go into corporation and work with employees, I always get them to get these for their leadership team and that, because it is a different to write and be able to process. It has wellness tips. It has a lot of different things around self-care, positive affirmation, mental mindset, like all that. And then I have my youth version with the youth wellness and life skills. So this is my newest book that I published last year, and I'm super, super proud of. But I want to say to what we talked about, what people have to start to understand is that relationships take on different looks as you grow through them. And so we are always used to maybe talking to, you're my best friend and I talk to you every single day. Well, you get to a point in life where you're not going to talk every day. That doesn't mean that that's not your best friend, but people can turn a relationship into another space because of the way that they think of it. So as long as you can still have a conversation and you still support and care and love that person, you can still have a great relationship. And I guess as a person that's been married for 30 years, I see there could have been 4 or 5 times that we could have parted ways because people grow. But you have to also be able to work through it and say how bad you want it and how much do you love that person and you want to continue with them, because you're not going to be perfect. But once you start living your truth, then I feel like you show up better for your mate and the friends that are around you, because you start to understand who you are and being able to go your separate ways and then come together. It's powerful. That is the truth. And so I say how you got to fight for what you want. And when you don't want it anymore, this one pastor told me, and I was asking him, he had 25 years. I said, what's your success? Now I've been married longer than that, but I like to hear other people's. He said, you know what? They never, the way that he said it is pretty classic. He said, when the one get mad, they both haven't been mad at the same time, right? They did not give up at the same time, which means when one was off, then the other one was fighting a little bit more. That whole 50-50, like that was one is at 80, one at 20, one at 30, you know what I mean? 50-50. So I just said, oh, wow. So that's what keeps them together, because when one is kind of low, then the other one fill the tank up.
I love that. Filling up your tank. Can't have your tank depleted in
You can't.
relationship.
And you
That
got to
is
communicate that too, Dr. Alicia. You got to tell your person, friend, relationship when your tank is low. Hey, I need this. What do you need to fill your tank up? Because they can't read your mind. And that's one thing that people don't understand. You have to communicate. Everybody, remember that. Communication
great.
is key.
Oh, this is so good. We've got some good lessons. Now, anybody, if you guys know anybody watching right now, if you know somebody going through a breakup, share this video with them because they got what? 1, 2, 3. We got 4 experts on here. Show me where online you get 4 experts on mental health and healthy relationships. I dare you. I dare you to show me
I want
somewhere.
to hear it.
You can send this to them. Hit the like button, help us with the algorithms. That would be really nice. That would be excellent. And let's see, as we end today, I do want to remind everybody, text love, LOVE to 87948. Come join my book club. It's all about breaking up. You know anybody that's going through a breakup, come to my book club because we're going to be talking about, I'll be answering your questions
Okay.
if you put it in the Q&A. And just to kind of summarize all the things we talked about today. Oh my God, I have like a whole page. It's not in any order. Okay, we talked about lessons learned, how to learn lessons from your past relationships. We talked about getting clarity helps you in getting over somebody, trying to, the trauma comes from when you ain't able to have clarity. It's all fuzzy in your head. It keeps emerging spontaneously for you. But when you can tell a nice, coherent story with reflective functioning, that's how you work through it. Oh my goodness. We had Miss Paris on here talking about abandonment, feelings of hurt, and the grief that takes place. That's all normal. And Felice talked about how acceptable. You have to accept all of these feelings and lean into it. Be your own best friend. We got some good ones. What some people wrote them in the chat. Y'all tell me, what are some lessons learned? Put them in the chat. For forgiveness, how important it is to forgive, all of these wonderful things. A better you, a better relationship. Oh, yes. When you start living in your truth. That was a bar because we heard from Coach Melody. Living in the now. Oh, we also learned about getting through it, not just over it. You have to
Mhm.
learn how to get through it. Um, watch yourself on social media. I'll just leave that there.
Yes. Yeah.
Just talk about that. And unproductive worry. Unproductive worry.
Mm.
Participate in productive behaviors that will help you through this whole thing. And the feeling of abandonment, that person just left you. They didn't abandon you. You can't be abandoned as an adult in a relationship. So those are some of the things. You can come to Dr. Alicia Book Club. Of course, there's my website, coachingwithdralicia.com. I got a lot of people, a lot of y'all filling out my intake. So I appreciate that. And of course, please follow me, Coaching with Dr. Alicia. And I want to thank you, ladies, for a wonderful, insightful panel. I love panels because they're so great. You get to have all the different stages. So, anyway, I love you all. And I will see you guys next Monday when we have our next topic, whatever that's going to be. But stay tuned and you'll have our next topic. Goodbye, everybody. Sit in your
Bye.
feelings. Look at this. Look at that. Sit in your feelings. You got to do all of this good stuff. Okay. Goodbye, everyone.
Bye.